the plan when I made a beetroot hummus to, gain 700,000 followers like in a month or something. And I was like, oh my God, like
wow, yeah.
Quite literally life-changing.
Hello and welcome to The Recipe, brought to you by Filippo Berio. I'm your host, Theo Randall, chef patron at Theo Randall Cucina Italiana. Today I'm joined by a plant pioneer who's taken the world by storm.
I always say sometimes going to a nice supermarket is like going to a museum or like you're going to a gallery, like seeing something fun, but then you can also just buy all the stuff.
We should meet up and go and have a day in the supermarket. I'd love that.
Yeah.
Known to millions as Alfie Cooks, he's turned yellow sticker shopping into an art form and is currently reshaping global hotel menus.
And someone had the courtesy of messaging me being like, if you ever come to my country, like, you'll be going home with your head on a doner spit or something. And I was like, wow, very creative.
Please welcome Alfie Steiner. Hi Alfie, it's so great to have you here. This show's all about recipes that tell a story. What are you going to cook for us today?
This morning, and thank you very much for having me.
Oh,
this morning we are cooking my take on a Turkish style pasta. It's very much about very simple ingredients, but sort of really bringing them together and sort of bringing those contrasting like flavors and textures and colors all together. It's a very special dish. It's one of my me and my fiancee's favorite dishes at the moment.
Oh, lovely.
And we recently got engaged. So
congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thought it would be a perfect time to sort of share that with you, and you can just eat a barrel of it. Like you just keep eating it, because it's just like you've got crunchy, you've got creamy, you've got cold, you've got hot, like you've got a little bit of salad as well on top. So it's a very, very tasty dish, and I think
very good for you too.
Very good for you, and for someone who maybe, not just you, but if people are like, oh, I'm not sure about tofu, I don't know how to cook it, I'd say this is like a great gateway. This is your gateway recipe.
You are amazing. You've
oh, thank you.
Well, you are amazing in lots of ways, but I mean, since 2020, you became vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've now got a huge following, 5 million followers on Instagram. How did that happen?
How did you do it?
Yeah, I mean, that is incredible.
It is, it's a bit mad. I do well to kind of stop a little bit more and try and reflect on that kind of thing, because it's kind of like, obviously the last few years have been a bit of a whirlwind. Amazing, like what a crazy sort of few years it's been, but it all just started happening from a passion of food, starting to cook for myself when I was at uni. So I was up in Edinburgh, taking photos of like what I thought were very tasty, fun looking dishes, but honestly, if you scroll right to the back of my feeds, like back then, I'm not sure how good they looked, but it didn't matter. It was more about sharing it with friends and family and wanting to kind of share this passion for cooking at home and kind of using ingredients that I'd find in like the reduced section of supermarkets and old vegetables lying in the back of the fridge. And so I guess that was always my like mantra. It's like loving your leftovers, using ingredients in sort of fun and exciting ways. And then I stopped eating meat, as you say. This was, maybe 5-6 years ago now. And after that, it was just kind of like, right, I'm gonna really sort of appreciate and learn how to cook ingredients that require a little bit more sort of thought and nuance, and it helped me become a better cook, I think.
Self-taught?
Yeah, self-taught. I mean, I grew up eating very well. My dad's a very good cook, and it's always been a very foodie kind of household, but I'm not a trained chef or anything like that. I've had a little bit of experience in kitchens, but it's very much like I'm a home cook. Anything that I can do, you can do as well.
Right, which is very sellable, because so many people look at chefs chopping things and think, oh my God, I'm never gonna be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, like, it's nice to add a few like tips and tricks and kind of things that you learn as you go along. But, I've got such a huge passion for food and cooking, and now with, plant-based ingredients and sort of wanting to make people love tofu and sort of, cooking mushrooms and cauliflower steaks and all that kind of stuff. But it's always about making it sort of achievable and accessible, but fun at the same time. And that's kind of how I started doing what I was doing. And then, yes, obviously the sort of social media growth started happening like 3 years ago. And then I was like, right, this wasn't the plan.
Yeah.
It wasn't the plan when I made a beetroot hummus to, gain 700,000 followers like in a month or something. And I was like, oh my God, like,
wow,
quite literally life-changing. And then sort of obviously have sort of kept going with it to make sure that it wasn't just that, and have now managed to sort of carve out my sort of space on the internet, but then also working on other projects sort of in real life and, all sorts of things basically. And at the center is, plant-based food and me cooking, I guess, Alfie Cooks.
And then you worked as a waiter in a high street restaurant.
How did you know that?
Wow, I did a bit of
You
research.
did a bit of digging, did you?
Yeah. We know everything about you, Alfie.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? So as I said, I was at Edinburgh Uni, studying Spanish and Portuguese. And on my third year, actually, I took a year out to sort of look after myself because I was struggling a little bit with mental health. At that point, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Needed to get a job. So started working at Cote.
Okay.
Cote Brasserie.
Yeah.
Started as a commis waiter,
Yeah.
which was interesting, but got on with it and learned a lot. I was closer to the kitchen. It was great seeing how these professional kitchens were working. The head chef there was great. And then slowly graduated up to the restaurant floor, became a waiter. Found it really stressful. Like I loved it, but I'm someone who's like always on, like wanting to make sure that everyone's okay. And it's a lot. Like you're sweating and, heart racing. You don't want to get anything wrong. One time I did get something wrong. I had to open like this bottle of quite expensive, like sparkling wine. I said to my restaurant manager, like, look, I don't feel comfortable opening this because like, what if it goes everywhere? And she was like, nah, you'll be fine.
Don't worry about it. It was
went over to the table, it went, and like, bless this, well, not bless actually, it wasn't very nice, but this guy who was on a date, like, really tore into me. But to be fair, she had got a little bit of wine on her. Yeah. Anyway, you learn.
But you learn from these things. And also, it's very good social skill. I mean, if you're a waiter, you are literally being almost interviewed every night. You know, and it must have been very good for your social media.
Yeah, well.
Confidence as well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that was at a time when I had a few hundred followers. So it was kind of like, I would obviously document everything. When we did like the menu tastings every quarter or something, that was my favorite time because I got to take all the photos and put it on my social media. And I was like, oh my God, it's so exciting. I'm working with Cote. But obviously I wasn't. I was just actually working at Cote.
Well, I think we should start getting cooking.
Hell yeah.
Okay, Alfie, so you're going to fry the tofu first?
Yes. So this is step number one. So we're going to get the hob on.
Yeah.
And then basically cook this out understirred maybe for like 2 to 3 minutes. And then just make sure that by the end of like 10 minutes or so, it's going to be really nicely sort of brown and hopefully a little bit crispy. But it also doesn't matter if it's not completely crispy. It's more about the colour. And we want this to resemble kind of mince in a way.
Yeah, of course. So we're making like a sort of like a ragu in some ways.
Sort of like a quick ragu.
Yeah.
Because the idea is that this will all come together in kind of like half an hour if you're cooking it at home.
Sure.
And what we're going to do there, we've got onions over there.
Just softened already.
Softened.
Yeah.
Then we're going to get some garlic and then start building our levels of flavour. So we've got some paprika, we've got some cumin, we've got some red pepper paste. Often when we cook this, both of us there, and like I'll be on tofu duty, she'll be on, boiling the pasta, but no, she'll be like chopping the vegetables and making the yogurt and stuff. And it's a nice thing to sort of do with someone. And yeah, I think eating together, she's actually been away the last few days. So I've sort of, to be fair, I ate with my sister last night and, but you miss eating with people. Like when you're at home alone, it's obviously nice, but it's nothing beats like kind of sharing these meals with people.
I always say that like, you never cook as well if you cook for yourself. I mean, you might cook a dish and you might eat it, but actually it's far nicer to be cooking for other people.
Absolutely. And especially when it's something that, something like this for me is obviously, it's a special dish because it's me and Angelica's favourite these days.
Yeah.
It's the first thing we ate when we got back from Thailand recently after we'd got engaged.
Oh, lovely. Whereabouts did you go all over?
We went to 2 islands. We went to Koh Lanta and Koh Yao Yai.
Okay.
Honestly, the most beautiful place I've ever been. Like,
really?
Hands down.
Stunning.
Good place to get engaged, that's for sure.
Oh, so it was very, very, very recent. Oh.
Very recent.
So when are you getting married?
Not sure yet. We've started thinking about it. We've decided it's going to be abroad.
Yeah.
But it's quite a lot of wedding planning. I mean, I can't say I've done loads of it in my life.
You done like a wedding?
Never had a wedding before. And yeah, so Jelly is kind of taking the lead on kind of like sourcing venues and stuff. But yeah, we've earmarked potentially towards the end of next summer. So end of 2027, like September-y kind of vibes. Tofu is done.
Yeah.
Pasta's almost done.
Yeah.
Yogurt's almost done. The final flourish for this dish, which really does take it to the next level, is we're going to get our butter in the pan. So this butter, we're just going to sort of melt and let it foam away. Yeah. And then we're just going to season it with this pul biber, so like Turkish red pepper flakes. So we're just going to add a little bit of that in there. I also like just doing a little bit of paprika as well.
Nice. It's huge amounts of flavour here.
Yeah, it's a serious flavour bomb. And that's just going to slowly like kind of infuse and just get nice and smoky. And then honestly, when it all comes together, it really is.
So you pour that on top?
Yeah, it's like a very indulgent, not all of it, like a spoonful or two.
Yeah.
I put in quite a lot of butter, but you always want a little bit more. And you could skip the butter if you want to keep it kind of like a bit more clean.
This is quite interesting, your cooking. It's all about lots and lots of flavour, lots of sort of spices. And you actually, the ingredients you use are actually lifting them out. So they're
exactly,
really
and
prominent.
it's like you're using something like tofu, and it's like, how are we adding things? So, yes, we've got all our components now, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
Right, shall we assemble them?
Let's plate up.
Yeah.
Alfie, this looks and smells amazing. It's quite different to a normal pasta dish. You've kind of built it up, so it's very much a different dish than I would normally expect a pasta dish to be. But it just smells delicious. I'm going to have to tuck in.
Yeah,
I can't wait any longer.
It could almost be like a salad.
It is almost like a salad, yeah.
But yeah, one of my favourite things to do is like you get it in there and you sort of mix it all together.
Really tasty.
And you get all these like different textures.
This is a great introduction to tofu.
Yeah.
If you don't like, I don't like tofu, I don't like the texture of tofu, this is a great introduction to it because you don't really get that texture.
No, it's because it's nice and crunchy. It's been seasoned really well. It's got that like red pepper paste, smoky paprika. Then you've got the sort of nutty notes of the butter, which we sort of browned a little bit. You've got the yogurt, which sort of coats the pasta really nicely, but the pasta is like kind of al dente and crunchy. Honestly, like when I say I could eat a barrel of this,
You could.
It's just so Moorish.
But the yogurt is really surprising because it's got the lemon in it and it kind of cuts your palate and you've got that paprika. It's absolutely delicious. I have to say, I'm very, very impressed.
There we go. And it's completely vegan. What are the chances, eh? But of course, you could use normal yogurt, you could use normal butter, whatever.
Perfect combination of beer.
Nice Turkish beer.
Nice Turkish beer.
Ice cold Turkish glass.
You talk about Turkey quite a lot. I mean, obviously got Turkish influence in your cooking. You talked about having a shop nearby that was a Turkish supermarket. And everyone talks about farmers markets and going to markets to get inspiration. But having a shop like that next to you must really inspire some of your dishes.
It's incredible. And actually, so we actually moved.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, absolute pleasure.
Lovely to catch up. I wasn't planning on sipping a beer at this hour, but there we go.
So you moved to...
Yeah, so we moved, actually not too far from where we are today, but, I found this Turkish supermarket on Holloway Road, and I just couldn't believe how amazing it was in terms of they bake their bread twice daily. They have an incredible range of like beans, pulses, legumes, all like jarred that cost like £1. The range of vegetables and fruits, like fresh herbs, like big hefty bunches, like £1. The smells when you go in there, all the different like sesame paste and dips, and honestly anything. You could literally just shop there, and I should shop there more because it's such a joy going in there, and they do inspire you. Like we went in last week, and you're finding all these ingredients that you didn't really know existed, or they were bulgur, like kofta made from bulgur. Traditionally, that a lot of the time that's how they do it in Turkey. And, bringing something like that back that you weren't expecting to find, they have an incredible range of all these like stuffed cabbage leaves and vine leaves and courgettes and aubergine, and they're all naturally plant-based, so it's such a joy going there. And I think, as you say, like it does really help inspire your kind of cooking and shape the way that you sort of cook and eat at home, and also supporting a sort of smaller local business as well.
Exactly, and also you get so much value for money. I mean, I love going to those shops in springtime when you've got the peas and the broad beans and the artichokes, when no one else is selling them. And you go to them and you buy sort of like, I don't know, 5 or 6 artichokes, and it's like a couple of quid or something.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go to a posh greengrocer and it'll cost you £2 each.
Oh yeah.
So I'd love supporting those kind of shops.
Yeah, and like
it was stacked to there's not a single space on any shelf.
No.
Completely fully stocked.
We were in there the other day, actually. We were trying to take some photos as well, and like in the background it's just like, oh, there's loo roll up there, and like, oh, there's like jars of chickpea. Like it's just it fills to the brim. But I love it. And they've also, for people who eat meat as well, they have their like meat counter at the back. The bakers.
You don't need to go anywhere else.
You don't need to go anywhere else, and that's like the hub. So I'm very lucky to be able to go there, and I think everyone, if you've got like a Turkish supermarket, but even if it's a Lebanese, a Syrian, like anything nearby that's like a sort of specialized food supermarket or grocers, honestly, like go in there, you could spend absolutely, I mean, I could spend hours just going to, I always say sometimes going to a nice supermarket is like, you're like going to a museum or like you're going to a gallery, like seeing something fun, but then you can also just buy all the stuff because it's kind of like, you're just looking at everything like, oh my God, this tahini, like, oh my God, this like huge, like industrial vat of like Turkish red pepper paste.
We should meet. We should meet up.
I get quite excited by it.
We should meet up and go and have a day in the supermarket. I'd love that.
Yeah, well, that's what Poppy and I did that last week, and it was honestly like just the best time ever. So yeah, I think, as I say, like some of my favorite types of food is the kind of meze, whether it's Turkish, whether it's Greek, whether it's Lebanese, like the idea that you have, you know, a nice something grilled, whether it's meat or fish, if you eat meat or fish, or whether it's like some cheese or just like aubergine, courgettes. You have your salads, like your tabbouleh, your just Greek salad, your fresh like zingy herb salads, and then you've got your dips and your bread, and it's just like all comes together. It's just my favorite way of eating.
It's the best way to eat, and also it's very good for you. I mean, it's all there's, you know, it's lots of olive oil. It's the very clean food. It's lots of vegetables.
Exactly.
A little bit of meat to sort of, you know, supplement those. I think obviously you don't eat meat, but
no meat.
This is very reminiscent of really bold flavors, which I love. So you've done some work with a few big brands, one of which was Wagamama.
Yeah.
How did that go? That was
I mean, it was a kind of a dream collaboration.
Yeah.
And again, had a really lovely story to it. As someone who grew up going to Wagamama with my younger sisters, you know, going to the cinema and going to your Waggers and getting your katsu and
your Waggers.
Getting your Waggers.
That's always
what we say, yeah, should we get Waggers? And then when I was at school, every time we broke up for like school holidays, me and all my friends would like pile into the local Wagamama. And then when I was up at uni, me and Angelica would go sort of hungover after a night out or whatever, go see a Wagamama. So like I've been there throughout my life, just sort of going there. And then, yeah, when I started my kind of food blog, a lot of what I was doing, you know, I'd go to Wagamama, I'd like review their new plant-based options, not like in collaboration with them, just because I got very excited.
Yeah.
And
they must have loved that.
Well, I don't think they noticed at the beginning because it's like a guy with 200 followers sort of tagging them and stuff, but I would recreate their like katsu and their salad dressings, all this kind of stuff. And so when I kind of then had the opportunity to work with them on just one activation, it was incredible. I was like, oh my God, I'm working at Wagamama. And then that went really well. And then that turned into like a year-long kind of partnership whereby I was helping them run these school clubs, you know, to try and teach kids about like vegetables and how you cook them. And then we did like supper clubs across the country, and we had 2 dishes, my dishes on the menu, which was incredible. It was like,
wow.
We had a launch party, and then they were everywhere in the country, like January 2025, it was like 100 plus Wagamamas, and it was just like my name was on the menu. And I was just like, great. It felt a bit like a dream come true, because it was like, it's a place that I have grown up like going to, and to be then working with them. And we did some work with them this January as well, and hopefully moving forwards we'll keep working with them. But they're such a lovely, like, for me anyway, like a really lovely brand to work with, and it feels very natural and organic, and yeah, it's just dreaming really. You told me like 5 years ago, oh, you can be working with Wagamama, I'd be like doing what?
Yeah.
Being a waiter. Not that that would be a bad thing.
No.
Then I'm like, now I'm literally on their menu, or was on their menu, and so that was crazy and very cool, and we got to do some really fun things. So yeah.
And then also you've been working with Novotel, which you mentioned a bit earlier. I mean, what's that like? Because obviously you've got your name on the menu there too, and you're teaching the chefs how to cook plant-based food.
Yeah.
Do you find that stressful, or is it's kind of enjoyable?
It's different. It's very enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's a really nice variation to sort of the sort of standard kind of content creator, like social media life that kind of occupies quite a lot of what I do.
Yeah.
These days. So actually like going into the Novotel hotels and sort of working with their production teams and filming kind of tutorials that are not to teach the chefs how to cook, but to sort of explain.
Inspire them.
Yeah, inspire them, like why I'm cooking mushrooms in this way, and
yeah.
like why we're using this instead of that kind of thing. So I've really enjoyed that, to be working with a global like brand who are, you know, they're interested in working with me and sort of wanting me to help them kind of make their plant-based options more exciting. And, you know, it's great, a big brand like that.
Great for them,
You know, I think by the end of this year, they want, like, across the world, so that's like 660 hotels, like 25% of all the menus are going to be like vegan, vegetarian, and not just that kind of like afterthought of a vegan option. It's like the curry, or not, you know, but there's going to be more range basically. And they've obviously felt that I can help them with that, which is great. And so it's been really fun working with them. We get to do all sorts of fun things. We're in Paris quite a lot. Although I was doing like I did like a live kind of cooking demonstration at one of these like events, and it was kind of like a corporate like business mingling event, and it was really cool to meet some people. But then like the induction hob like it was working, but then I couldn't blend live cooking in front of people. I've done it a few times. I want to keep doing it some more, but it's hard.
It's stressful. When you see gas, you're like
in an unfamiliar cooking territory as well. Like I was making like a romesco sauce, and then like it didn't blend properly, and then I was like, everyone's kind of listening to you. So anyway,
you learn from those mistakes.
Oh, you learn. So yeah, it's great, and I get to travel a bit more and do all sorts of fun things. So yeah, Novotel is a really fun one, and I think in general what they're doing as a big global sort of influential brand to try and be more plant forward, a little bit more sustainable in sort of their actions is what we should all be doing.
We should show them this dish, because this is absolutely amazing. I mean,
maybe next year, Novotel, we can put this dish on the menu.
Watch out. So you obviously do a lot of social media. You've got a lot of followers, and that's all kind of nice and great and lots of positive. But you also get a sort of bad side to that as well, and that can be quite stressful, particularly if you have like trolls and some, you know.
You know what? For me. And again, maybe this is because I've maybe taken a little step away from like engaging very closely with everything that goes on all the time, just because I've been quite busy. But the trolls, I mean, they're obviously there, but like they don't tend to bother me too much. Like I don't mind if someone says something like one time I made a mushroom doner, and someone had the courtesy of messaging me being like, if you ever come to my country, like you'll be going home with your head on a doner spit or something. And I was like, wow, very creative.
Obviously, very angry.
So you do get some crazy ones, but I say the main thing about social media is kind of the intensity of it and the sort of, you know,
relentless.
It's relentless. You're always on. It's kind of like, you know, I'm not someone who I've sort of fallen into this, and it's amazing, but I'm not trained in social media. I'm not kind of like...
That's why you're so good. Because it's, you know, it's kind of natural.
Well, yeah, it is. But then sometimes it can feel a little less natural. And especially, I think over the last year, I've sort of been spending my time doing lots of other things alongside social media. And you realise that it can get a little bit kind of... You can be stretched a little bit thin. And you want to remember why you started doing it, and it's for the enjoyment and for sharing food. So I think like having that kind of like remembering what it is that you're doing and what your kind of goal is something that's really important, and something I'm kind of trying to relearn a little bit and get back in touch with, because I think last year there was lots going on. I just found it a little bit tough, but yeah, I'm not complaining, obviously.
You've got so much going on, and so you also relaunched your Substack Veg Table.
Yes, the Veg Table.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, it's just kind of like a place where I'm putting my recipes, chatting a little bit more about the sorts of things I'm up to. And I was in Seville recently, which honestly is the most. Have you been to Seville?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
It's like
amazing,
beautiful.
Yeah,
like incredible.
Perfect place. The temperature,
the squares, the beers, the food. As someone who doesn't eat meat, like there were so many options. You know, veg-led tapas and like salmorejo every single day. Like,
of course, you speak Spanish.
Pimientos de padrón, por favor. So many things that you could eat, and it was like actually ordinarily I wouldn't document that and put it on my Substack, but then Poppy, who I've started working with, is like, let's put it on Substack, and it's like you can now do all these fun things, and you know, people might be interested if they go to Seville and they're like, oh, where should I go? What should I eat? So yeah, we're trying to really push that a little bit more. Started doing some YouTube recently as well, which has been quite fun. So yeah, really trying to branch out and diversify, so it's not just social media, like short form social media, because that's obviously great, but you want to be doing things like this. Real life, chatting, cooking, eating. I think that's really important.
Before we wrap up, I've got 3 questions for you, quick fire questions. The first one is, what would your last meal on earth be?
Well, I do have an answer to this, and I kind of feel like it's kind of like, you know, cheating a little bit. But as we've just spoken about, my favourite type of eating is kind of like a meze spread.
Yeah.
So that is when I'm happiest. That's when I'm feeling most at ease, enjoying the things that I'm eating. So I would have a meze spread. So I get a little bit of everything. Bread, grilled veg, dips, hummus, tzatziki. If that counts as a final meal.
Of course it does.
Okay, good.
And that's with family and friends, I presume.
Yeah, and family and friends. And like, honestly, like going to whether it's a Turkish restaurant or going to your local Lebanese or having people around. I had my sister around last night and just made all these different, like, you know, dips and spreads and whatnot. And it's like, that's my favorite thing. Building a plate of food with all the different elements. You can build little sandwiches, you know, it's just, it's very joyous. So.
It's the most obvious thing, but cooking and eating is the most sociable thing you can do.
Well, yeah, exactly. But again, with social media, sometimes you can kind of forget about that.
Yeah,
it's just like you're cooking for online, and it's like actually.
But you're also inspiring people to do that.
Yes.
So they would like, I'm going to cook that the weekend, and I'm going to invite my friends over. So you're doing a lot of good out there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, meze spread. So I get a little bit of everything, and it's not just one meal, because that's also why I love it so much, I guess.
Okay. The second one is guilty pleasure snack.
So Theo, I have a bit of I don't eat them loads, but when I do, like, they literally just disappear. So like, if you give me a big bag of like crisps, like in particular, either the red Kettles or red Tyrrells.
You like proper chips, crisps?
Yeah.
Yeah, like thick cut, really crispy.
But like coated in like quite pungent seasoning. And it is a bit gross, but like honestly, if you crack open a bag, they're gone in literally like 10 minutes and I can't stop. So that is my guilty pleasure. I treat myself occasionally to a big bag of crisps, but I try not to have them in the house because they literally just disappear. They just go. So yeah, I do love my crisps. I could talk about crisps for a long time.
And Arsenal.
And Arsenal.
And the final one would be, if you cook for one person, past or present, who would it be and what would be on the menu?
I mean, the first person who comes to mind is Thierry Henry.
Great Thierry Henry.
There'll probably be some people who say that's just boring footballer, but for me, when I was younger, he was kind of my idol.
He was amazing.
As a big Arsenal fan, and honestly, like, yeah, I remember when he left Arsenal, and as a 5-year-old, I sort of read the headlines on BBC Sport, and I rember like going to my swimming lesson, I was literally like crying. I was like, where's he going? Why is he off to sunny Spain? So yeah, I'd probably say Thierry Henry, because I'm just like, there's something about him. There's something about Thierry. And what would I cook for him? I mean, I'd like to know what his favourite food is, and then I could sort of maybe like put a veg-led spin on it. But maybe I would make him a French onion soup.
That's a good one.
But
yeah,
I'd also not obviously use the traditional methods of doing it. As a Frenchman, I'd wonder if he'd approve. So I do French onion soup, and then what would I do otherwise? Maybe it's just French onion soup for now. I'm making French onion soup.
I'm sure Thierry would be very happy.
And then I'd panic because I'm like, oh my God, I'm cooking for Thierry Henry. I think it requires a little bit more thought, but we'd go with the French onion soup.
Let's start with the French onion soup. We'll come back to another time.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Alfie, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. I'm so inspired by you.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you.
Thank
you for having me. It's been really fun, and honestly, this has been so delicious. I'm actually going to have another spoonful.
Me too. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Recipe with me, Theo Randall. You can find Alfie's full recipe on the Filippo Berro website at filippoberro.co.uk/Theo. And be sure to check out his Substack for more inspiration. Don't forget to subscribe, follow and share the podcast wherever you listen. Until then, happy cooking.